There's a high chance what's actually in your supplements isn't what you think is in them, especially if you're buying some of the biggest, most common brands. But it's not your fault, and I'm gonna distill my 10+ years of experience with all the sneaky little practices in this industry to help you overcome this problem and find products that meet high quality standards. So why is this even a problem in the first place? Isn't it illegal to put contaminants in supplements or otherwise mislabel them? Well, in 1994, Congress passed the DSHEA Act, which limited what companies could claim about their products, but what remained far less regulated was the actual ingredients in the products and the dosages of ingredients in the product. What do I mean? Well, let's look at regulations in the food industry by contrast. Any food additive or ingredient added to food must be listed in what's called the GRAS, or generally recognized as safe list. So if foods deviate from this list, it's pretty easy to track them down before they introduce potential harm into the market. But supplements work by a completely different set of rules. According to the DSHEA Act, supplement companies are allowed to pretty much use any ingredient they want in their products. Even things that very well could be considered drugs or drug-like substances, including things like the hormone DHEA or things like thyroid hormone extract. And then only after the supplements go on the market are they regulated and monitored. By law, a company must notify the FDA if they put something that's never been put in a supplement before into a supplement, but even that modest attempt at regulation is definitely broken. The fact is that anywhere from 50,000 to 80,000 supplements exist on the market that the FDA actually has no clue about. And this has led to exactly the type of situation that could just be sitting in your supplement bottle. In 2018, the Government Accountability Office launched a study of various store brands which focused on two of the most commonly used supplements, ginkgo biloba and fish oil. This study focused on assessing three things. Number one, whether the ingredients listed on the label were actually present. Number two, whether the dosages listed on the label were accurate. And number three, whether there were contaminants in the product, such as heavy metals, allergens, even things like pathogens. And the results should concern you. A full 66% of the ginkgo biloba products tested either contained contaminants or, get this, no ginkgo biloba product at all, literally scamming the consumer. The ashwagandha and phosphatidylserine supplements tested, which are two other popular supplements on the market, were found to contain significantly less milligram dosage than was actually listed on the label. So when you're buying herbal supplements, you have to be especially wary of where they're coming from, because there are so many companies out there just trying to put in fillers and other things just to make a buck. The fish oil supplements tested also had their own issues with ingredients, although surprisingly less so. The issue is this isn't the only study that has found similar issues with dosage, labeling, and just outright fraud. There have been various other studies showing problems of contamination and labeling with other supplement brands, many of which are on the store shelves of some very well-known companies. Okay, so then are there ways around these problems? Well, there's no one-size-fits-all when it comes to supplementation, but there are three ways you can avoid consuming supplements that have these issues. The first way is just not to be afraid to ask tough questions. After all, you are the consumer. If you go to the store and look for a specific product, you should ask whether that product has USP certification, or if not, if it has third-party certificate of analysis that it can actually share. Sadly, most store associates won't even know what these are, but let's make sure we understand them so we can empower ourselves as consumers. As we've seen, current regulation falls far short of ensuring that what's listed on the label is actually what's in the label. So USP certification is a sort of third-party analysis or certification that ensures that what's listed on the supplement is what's actually in the supplement. But not all third-party certification is USP certification, and companies often have their own internal review processes as well. Essentially, a third-party certificate of analysis is a document showing, 1, that the ingredients in the product are the same as those listed on the label, and 2, the level, if any, of contaminants such as lead, PCBs, pesticides, and pathogens. So if a company is really transparent, they'll just provide documentation upon request. If not, it's better just to not choose that brand. I mean, I don't care if you got a 2-for-1 deal, like what's your health worth? The second action you can take is to examine certain key features with respect to purity of process. Some supplement companies will try to fool you by putting a stamp on their product that it's GMP certified, which just means good manufacturing practices, when in reality, all supplements are required by law to abide by GMP standards. This is like trying to sell you an air ticket to Japan by telling you our flights are guaranteed to have seats, as if every other flight you take take is one where you'll have to stand the whole way. So instead, look for details about sourcing on a case-by-case basis. For example, don't be afraid to ask questions about the location of the manufacturer. Europe, Canada, the UK, Japan, Korea, Australia all have very high quality standards for supplement manufacturing. And by default, if the source of the ingredients is any of those countries listed, you can pretty much rest assured that the supplements are not tainted in any way. If not, it's not an automatic that the product is a bad one. You just might want to dig deeper and ask more questions. For supplements such as fish oil, there are a ton of practices with labeling in this industry that aren't technically illegal but are highly deceptive. And second, there are small details in terms of purity of process that you definitely want to look out for. First, in terms of labeling, you'll see a lot of products out there that list like 1,000 to 2,000 milligrams of fish body oils on the label. However, they don't then go on to list EPA and DHA content, which is arguably the reason you would take fish oil in the first place. Instead, always look for EPA and DHA content clearly listed on the label. And to get the health benefits that have been demonstrated clinically, you'll want to get more than like the 30 to 50 or to even 100 milligrams a lot of supplements offer. Instead, you're looking for about 500 to 800 or so milligrams per serving of EPA and DHA. Second, the bottle will typically list the type of fish used for the fish oil, and this actually matters. Here, you're looking for small fish, not salmon or tuna, but things like anchovies and sardines. This is because of what's called bioaccumulation, which means that as small fish get eaten by bigger fish and bigger fish and bigger fish up the food chain, the concentration of things like lead, mercury, PCBs, and microplastics, which aren't even tested for, by the way, tend to accumulate and increase in concentration. The third and final quality standard you want to watch out for is something that's not discussed a lot because it's such a small detail, but it's so key. A lot of supplements are damaged easily by heat and light, especially oils and certain vitamins and antioxidants. Because we don't typically think of supplements as food, we forget they need to be stored in a cool, dry place. And most distributors of supplements will at least take this into account when placing them on store shelves. However, what about all that light from the store lights that constantly shines on the bottles? Well, that's why it's another small but pretty important detail to always look for opaque bottles. That is, bottles you can't see through. If any light can get through the bottles, then over time it could be potentially damaging things like antioxidants, B vitamins, fish oils, and just consider how long those supplements might be sitting on the store shelf before you actually buy them. These are just some of the issues you want to watch out for when selecting nutritional supplements and trying to safeguard your health. If you want to keep learning about how to make better decisions when it comes to your health, then be sure to watch this next video.